Dr. Brandon W. Jones serves as the Associate Director for Student Learning and Development in Housing and Dining. He holds a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree, a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in Graphic Design and a Master's degree in Higher Education from Alabama Christian University. He also earned his PhD in Educational Leadership and Policy Studies from the University of Texas at Arlington in 2015. Brandon is very passionate about helping students realize their purpose and make the most of their college experience. All right, take it away.
We're gonna fix the sound real quick. Can you get faithful? Yeah, cut on one of these wireless mics for me. All right, how's everybody doing this evening? Awesome. As our quality said, my name is Brandon Jones. You see him as pronouns. I'm the Associate Director for Student Learning and Development here at UT Austin. And I'm really excited that you all are here because the area that oversees URHA and RHH, our residence hall programming team, and all of our student leadership experience is number 6. That's all in my area. And so I'm really excited to see all of the hard work of our student leaders, our professional staff members, and members of our university staff helping out with that. So can you all just give everybody a round of applause? Normally, I like to get down in here and make introverts nervous. I'm kidding. But I actually do like to get down here and move around a little bit. But because my boss required that we record this, I got my phone sitting there in the middle, so I'm kind of stage bound for the time being. Y'all actually can hear me without it? Cool. I'm still going to use it because I know somebody's going to be like, in the evaluation, like, getting you the microphone. So, 6 is not working. 6 is not working. No. This is this one. This is 6. This is 6. You're going to get it right. I know. In the meantime, let me go through the parts of the presentation that are ready to go. So, this is what the presentation is going to look like. It's going to be a bunch of GIFs, a couple of memes. I'm going to make 3 key points. I'm going to leave my contact information, and that's pretty much how it goes, right? But, y'all laughing. But my boss is going to see this, so I actually have to have a learning outcome. So, to accommodate my actual job, 1, 2, 3, 6 is not on. Basically, I want to help you understand what it means to revive the leader in you. So, I'm going to stay behind the podium for the time being. Can everybody hear me right here at the podium? Yeah. All right, good. I'm just going to cut that up. Faith, don't worry about it. I'm going to stay at the podium. Don't worry about it. So what typically happens throughout the school year is that a lot of us come into these different student learning, these student leadership experiences, and we get we get real excited about these different opportunities, whether it's being an RA or whether it's being in RHPT or in RHH. That is a hot mic. Bring that down. There we go. Awesome. And what we end up doing is sometimes we get burnt out, and that thing called midterms comes into play. And at the end of the day, we start looking like my friend Eugene, and we get real jacked up, like, wait a minute, what happened here? The beginning of the year was awesome and everything was going great, and then one day you just look up and it's like every test that you're having is all happening in one day. So I'm not going to belabor the point because I'm standing between you and the awards and fun for the rest of the evening, and so I'm going to make those 3 points that I told you about, and then we're going to keep the show rolling. Y'all with me? Yeah. Awesome. So the first thing you have to understand whenever you're trying to revive that leader that's within you, the first thing that you have to do is you have to remember what your why is. Yeah, okay, cool. I take snaps. And the reason you want to remember that why is because there are going to come days where you're tired, which may be every day for some of us. There are going to be days where the work is going to be overwhelming and there's not going to be much that we can do. And so what happens is because we're exhausted and because we're fatigued and because we may want to take the day off from that meeting or drop a message in the group me that says, oh, I can't make it, I'm on another e-board, or I'm on another e-board for every meeting, right? That happens to a lot of us. But you have to remember why you're there. Why did I join this organization to begin with? Why am I at the institution? Y'all stay with me. Why am I at the institution that I'm at? Why am I in this major? Because it's your why that's going to keep you anchored in, and it's your why that's going to ground you and keep you going in those moments where you're wanting to quit. Now, for those of you who sat in on my presentation on yesterday, you're going to see some things that are pretty familiar. You have to learn to mind your D's and your F's. Now, here's what I mean by that. Okay, I see y'all. Y'all sat in on my presentation. I love y'all. Y'all are awesome. Thank you. Y'all got me arrogant right up here. All right. So, the thing that you have to think about when you're minding your D's and F's are those things that drain you and those things that fill you up. And so here's what I mean. At the beginning of the year, we go to leadership retreats and we sit down and we do our elections and we get really, really excited and we're like, we're gonna be better than the leaders last year because we actually have an agenda for the year. And not only do we have an agenda, we've got a calendar and we've coordinated with other organizations on campus. And so we get excited, we boogie, we party. And we're so excited that we even take a staff photo and post it on Twitter, and we're all excited about the new and upcoming school year. We even bring our dogs. Shout out to Gerard for bringing his dog in here. So we even bring our dogs to these days, right? We're so, okay, there we go. I don't like that. You good? Does it work?
Yes.
Okay. I did not like being back there.
Amen for the sound team.
Right? Okay, we doing it now. Look like a comedy set now. I'm gonna roast everyone. I'm not gonna do that. So after that staff photo, after that staff retreat, we good? Y'all can't hear me. Okay, awesome. So after that photo, midterms happens. People stop showing up to meetings. And then all of a sudden your energy is on E. You're tired every day. You're exhausted. Midterms are here. Your parents are wanting you to come home, and you can't do it because they don't understand the life of a college student, or it's too far away because I intentionally left home so that I didn't have to come back for some of us, right? And so that gas tank is on E. And so then we just get tired. We just keep passing out. And then we show up to meetings, I'm like, I'm not going in there. Like, ooh, what are they talking about in class today? Nope, backing out of that. And then simple things become complicated. It's like, wait, did I eat today? Now if I carry the one and use a meal plan today, all right, okay, so I can eat until Thursday. Simple things become complex, right? When we get tired, it's those things that we regularly do, and we used to do it with little to no effort and energy, and now all of a sudden, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted, and also, I can't even think straight. But the organization won't run without me. That is a lie. Let something happen to you. The org will move on. I told the group on yesterday, I remember when I graduated, and I thought, man, I should come back and be an advisor. Even though I don't have a job and the university hasn't hired me, I came back on opening day because that's just what people do when you're still in the city, right? And my friend's little sister came up to me. She was a sophomore that year, and she said, why are you still here? And my pride took a hit. And I'm like, I guess I better go get a job because her and my dad are judging me right now. So you gotta find a way to figure out that the org is going to move on without you. And not only will it live on without you, you gotta find ways to delegate. And I know that that's a cuss word to some of us, but we gotta do it. You got people that got elected to their positions, empower and equip them to run the organization. And so I got a couple of tips on how to mind your D's and F's. Number one, you gotta pay attention to the things that drain you, okay? Sometimes that is the organization. And so we gotta have a real talk with ourselves sometimes and say, you know what, this might not be for me this year. Even though you've been doing it since freshman year when they recruited you during welcome week and you got that free shirt and free slice of pizza, is that just me? Okay, and they've had you hooked since welcome week. And now it's your senior year, you're trying to graduate and get a job and possibly figure out this relationship thing with booth, faith, whatever words y'all using these days. And or the situationship I heard the other day, that stuff is draining. That stuff is draining, right? You gotta figure out what those things are, and you gotta pay close attention to them. Because if you're not careful, the very things that used to give you energy become drains themselves. That's parents, that's family, that's your relationships, that's your organizations, that's money. Can I get an amen? Listen, it drains us, right? Yeah, it's Sunday morning, I gotta preach tomorrow. So, get warmed up. You also have to regularly participate in the things that fill you up. Now, yesterday I asked the group to make a list of 3 things that give you energy and give you life and restore you. And I said, make sure it's those things that are legal and things you actually want your advisors in the room to actually hear about. So I'm not going to ask anybody on camera to be like, oh, I know what gives me joy. I know what hypes me up. Don't want to know. Make a list of it. And as long as it's legal and good for you and doesn't do harm to yourself or others, please regularly participate in that. Some people said it was church. Some people said it was hanging out with their friends. Some people said, listen, it's putting on my bathrobe, getting that glass of wine for those of you who are of age and can do such things. And it's curling up. It's Netflix, not Netflix and chill. It's just Netflix. I am a father, so I'm going to be daddy for a couple of minutes. You got to make sure you do the things that fill you up, okay? You got to regularly participate in those things. You also have to recognize when you're running on E. I told the story yesterday about how 2 weeks ago I was getting ready to teach a class on a Wednesday night, and all of a sudden I was picking up food from over here at Cypress, right around the corner there, and then I looked out and my tire was flat. And the only thing keeping my hubcap from the ground was the rubber from the tire. Like, that stuff slips, I'm on a hubcap. And so thankfully, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep going. You know why? Because I know my car. How many of you say that? Some of y'all riding around right now with your gas tank with the hand past the E, and you got vapor running the car, and you do not have a hybrid, you don't have a Tesla, and God bless you if you do. But for those of us that don't, we sit there saying, oh, I know my car. You know your car up to that point. Because it's never run out of gas before. But when it does, you're going to realize, oh snap, I don't really know my car. And so thankfully, I was able to get some air in my tire. And I was ignoring all the signs. I ignored the tire light. I told the group yesterday that like the tire was shredding apart. And the mechanic raised up my car like to eye level and showed me. He said, hey man, you'll probably kill yourself on the road driving like this. You should really stop driving on this car. And I was literally like that gif I just showed you with that woman calculating. I was calculating, okay, my son wears a size 3 this week. It'll be a 5 next week. My daughter needs a Moana dress for Halloween. I don't have the money for that right now. And then if I buy a tire, then the kids are going to be wondering, hey, why don't we have Halloween candy? Okay, this is complicated. I'm good, bro. Just change the oil and then we're going to get out of here. And I kept riding on that tire. Y'all laughing, but we do the same thing with our energy. You do the exact same thing every week. You haven't eaten all day, and you're wondering why you're feeling dizzy in class. We sitting up here trying to run an organizational meeting, and some of us get real hangry and cranky in a meeting, and some nights those meetings go a little bit longer, and all you had was some Ritz crackers that you kept in your backpack from a month ago from a program you attended in the residence hall across campus. Is that just okay? So y'all relate, right? Y'all relate, right? You gotta recognize when you're running on empty, because good leaders always do something to recharge. That's what good leaders do. Because how dare you try to pour into somebody else when you yourself are empty? Like, real talk. It's like if I reach down here to pick up this cup to get something to drink because I'm thirsty and there's nothing in it. But I keep pouring, hoping that something is going to happen, but it doesn't. And that's what happens when we show up to meetings week after week. I'm exhausted. I show up to meetings. I've been saying that word exhausted a lot because that's what happens around this time of year. I'm also saying that you have to make sure that you pay attention to yourself because your body gives you check engine lights. Your body will tell you, oh, you just gonna keep going, huh? I got something for you. Wait till you get around that corner. It's 103 up in Lubbock, Texas right now, and you trying to walk over there to the stadium, you about to pass out. Oh, I got something for you at Conway, Arkansas. Okay, get over across the street, right? You walking over there to the quad, you thinking you about to hang out, panic attack, because your body is betraying you. Those are the kind of things that our bodies do. That's what happens, and you gotta be mindful of those things that drain you and fill you up, but also you gotta avoid trying to pour into others what you don't have to give. But finally, you gotta quit rewarding draining behavior. Here's what I mean. At every institution, whether it be professional staff or student staff, we give out these world famous awards. And usually you hear something like this: I'm so proud of Brandon. He's the first one here. And we open at 9, he's here at 6:52. We close at 5, he's still here at 9 p.m. Why? For what? Brandon's got 2 kids at home. Why in the world am I there before they wake up and after they go to bed? That's a bad parent. And my kids would look at me, especially my petty daughter, but that's another story. We get side-eyed real quick in the Jones house for that, but we give awards out for this stuff. You hear it all the time. You see it in sports. You see it in student affairs. We're always rewarding the person that went over the top with strength that they didn't have to give, but they gave it anyway. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with every now and again need to go a little extra and dig a little deeper, like they said on Princess and the Frog. You can tell them, Karen. All my stuff is put into references, right? Oh, y'all gonna sing it right. But when we reward that, we gotta figure out a way to start rewarding the person that, I don't know, checks in at 8, leaves at 5, and gets the job done. Or the officer in URHA that starts the meeting on time and ends it on time. Why don't we start rewarding that? Or, the NRHH chapter that, I don't know, did everything that they set out to accomplish at the beginning of the year and didn't require any firing of executives or having to restart midway through it. Let's reward those kind of behaviors. But we got to make sure that we quit rewarding the draining behaviors, because it's creating students that get burnt out in September when classes started, in September for some schools. And in the cases where you're starting school in August, you're also seeing students getting burnt out in August. So be mindful of those things when we submit rewards. But finally, y'all knew I got an Avengers pin on. You knew there was going to be an Avengers reference. And if you didn't, pay attention. Listen, you have got to surround yourself with like-minded individuals. Now, here's what I mean by like-minded. I don't mean people who all think the same. I mean people who are trying to go in the same direction. Okay? Amen. And here's the difference. Because sometimes when we get in that group think and everybody's thinking the same way, you can't really be innovative. You can't really be 5-star. And you can't really get your best thinking and your best leadership out of people if everybody's doing the same thing. But watch this. When you get a group of people that we may not agree, but we understand the why. Not only do we understand the why, we're paying attention to the dynamic in the room. We're minding our D's and our F's. And so we got people who are exercising self-care, and we're coming together and we're presenting our best selves every week. Those are the kind of people I want going to war with me. Those are the kind of people that when we're going to do an event, it's going to be all hands on deck. And you're not going to drop a message in the group meeting 15 minutes before the event starts and says, I didn't realize I had a test. And yes, you did. It was in syllabus day when they showed you on syllabus day, that entire syllabus, the first day, you knew months in advance. I'm triggering some folks. I'm sorry. But it happens. It happens every year. It happens every semester. People pull those excuses out of the hat. Let's go with hat. And, they come up with these really creative reasons why they couldn't be at a meeting that they knew when you did that retreat where everybody was jumping in the air and the gas tank was on F and everybody was dancing and waxing and doing all the dancing and stuff. I can't do that dance. That's why I stopped. Bad news. Listen, you got to make sure you assemble a crew that's going in the same direction you are. We know why we exist. We said at the beginning of the year at our staff retreat or at our URHA retreat or our residence hall programming team or whatever you call it at your school, whatever your organization that you're representing, you set out at the beginning of the year to achieve some goals. It's November 2nd, and some of us are already over it. Like, when I get back, I'm done. Some of y'all have checked out already, and again, that's okay. That's the purpose of this weekend. The purpose of this weekend, it was cool and, trendy to go with revive the leader in you, but that's why some of us are legitimately here. That's why I'm up here. I couldn't wait till you all got here. When they asked me to do this, I was like, yes, I'm here for it. Let's do it. Let's go. They could have asked me to do this 5 minutes ago, and I probably would have had this ready, because that's just who I am, and I love student leaders, and I love what you all are representing, but I'm just tired of students burning out. I'm tired of students coming in my office and, Dr. Jones, I think I'm done. And it's like, tell me more. Yeah, I think that the organization is going in a direction I can't go in. Tell me a little bit more. Well, I just think that the other day, when we were in a meeting, they were asking us to do so much, and I've got so much that I'm doing. Well, tell me everything that you're doing. Well, I'm on 4 e-boards. Let's stop right there. Let's talk about that. 4 e-boards. And what year are you? I'm a freshman. Ooh, okay. Okay. I was a former academic advisor. I know how to dig and do intrusive advising. And so I'm like, okay, 4 e-boards. Was there no one else that could, run these organizations? Well, they mean so much to me, and I'm for all of these causes. And I'm like, I know you are, but do you have to run all of them? Is there no one else that can, be president of the society within your major? Well, you're doing too much, Dr. Jones. That means something to me. Okay. Then can you step down from the social justice organization? Are you saying that I can't be socially just? Not at all. Not at all, my friend. Please, let's stay in the fight together, But do you have to be the president? I mean, can you be a member for a year and actually get to know what the organization was founded on and get clear about the organization's why, and then recruit more people and then replicate more of yourself in that group? I'm just tired of that. I'm exhausted about that. That's another reason why I'm here. I want to get revived too, because those conversations are exhausting. I leave here some nights and I'm going, how do I do this? How do they do this? But then I remember, I was just like you. So I'm not judging, because I remember what it was like. I was running 3 or 4 organizations myself and had my one and only panic attack in my life. Oh, you better believe I listened. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was my senior year, and my grandmother had just passed about a month before the first day of school, and I was just on autopilot. Welcome week came and went. Residence hall move-in came and went. I just grabbed my backpack like any other day. Keep in mind, this is the 4th day of school. I get to the front door of my apartment, and I hit the floor. And I'm just, I'm like, what is going on here? I get on the phone with my dad, and I'm like, dude, I quit. I can't do it. So I need something. And thankfully, I got a hold of one of my friends. He came and got me up. I caught my breath. We're good. But I was ready to quit school. Senior year, after having 3.5 good years, I'm ready to quit in the moment that it matters most, because I was doing too much. It's real. These biological responses are real. And then you try to figure out, well, why aren't people listening to me? Well, how have you taken some time to think, wait a minute, how am I coming across in this meeting? And then you go and take the time to get to know, get to hear what your friends or what your other execs are talking about, and you might hear that, hey, you were pretty snappy these last 3 meetings. What's up? People were scared to come talk to you about that. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh crap, I haven't eaten before these meetings. And oh, by the way, I'm a physics major, or I'm a nursing student, and that 300-page book report that I waited until the week before to write is due. And so I'm a little cranky because of stuff that has nothing to do with the group. You gotta check on you. And when you're paying attention to yourself, and you got the right people around you, when you put the right people around you, they can tell you the truth. And they won't let you get to that point. But you gotta be receptive to that. So here's what I need y'all to promise me. I need y'all to promise me a couple of things. I can quit talking now. That's my picture. I like that picture, so I just used it. So there's no inspirational quote or nothing. I just like that picture. Here's what I need y'all to promise me. Number 1, I need you to promise me that you're gonna take some time on the ride home, on the flight home, however you chose to get here, I need you to promise me that you're gonna pay attention to yourself more. And I mean it every way. I'm not just talking about with your energy levels. I'm talking about the stuff that you're choosing to participate in that's actually not good for you. I need you to promise me that you're going to reflect on this weekend and realize, Austin is actually not a bad place. But also, I need you to realize that, you know what? I'm a better leader than I give myself credit for. Maybe the person that I came here with, that I've been disagreeing with this whole time, they're actually pretty cool. Take some time to reflect on those things. I also need you to make sure that if you don't have that person in your organization that can help take you forward, but you're thinking of that person right now, but they're not here, I want you to figure out why that person's not here, and when you get back to your campus, I want you to reach out to them. I want you to reach out to that student or that mentor that, for those of you who attended the Careers and Student Affairs panel yesterday, I want you to get out there and try to find a mentor that can help you get going in the direction that you want to go with, because guess what? You will graduate. Let me speak for your parents. You better graduate. Okay? That's what you came to college for. These leadership experiences are co-curricular for a reason, in some cases extracurricular. And as a person who's in charge of co-curricular experiences at this fine institution, let me tell you, your job is to graduate. That's period. Period. Alright? Your job is to graduate. And so if you participate in all these experiences and you don't finish, come on, we don't want the organization to be holding anybody back. And so with that, I'm gonna step out the way. If you want to take pictures of this slide, that's fine. If you want to hit me up, that's great, because I love students. I take myself not serious. I take what I do serious. So I could have just said I don't take myself serious. Sorry. But please reach out. If you're having trouble talking to your advisor or talking to your peers, or you just want to say, hey, you know what? I've been thinking about grad school, but I don't even know where to start. Great, let's talk. Or, hey, I just want to get out of college and I don't know where to start. Even better. That's what we're here for. That's what your advisors are here for. And so with that, Sky, somebody kind of have my own time. Should I shut up now? Or I should? Kind of, you know, yes. All right. So with that, I'm gonna hang around. I'll be here with you all for the rest of the night because my kids are already in bed anyway. So I'm gonna be here the rest of the night. So thank you all very much. I appreciate it. So I was just told, and they know I like doing this, I was just told I could do a Q&A if I wanted to, and I do. So, okay. You can shout, and I will interpret. Go ahead.
I feel on a spiritual level, I think that we need friends.
It's right there. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
How do you reverse it? Because I know sometimes, like, if you just take it into yourself, you can go back to the same stuff. You're not going to get any better. So what's the advice?
Sure. Sure. So the question is, if you're already experiencing burnout, how do you reverse it? And it starts with acknowledging that that's where you are, because you can't move from where you don't know where you, like, if you don't know where you are, you can't go anywhere. You're just gonna keep spinning, right? So what I recommend is acknowledge, like, okay, this is exhausting. That's the first step. It's literally that simple. It's acknowledging I am burnt out, and telling somebody that you can trust that you're burnt out. That's not gonna go, oh no, you're not. We need you to keep going. You need to acknowledge that. And then once you've acknowledged what you just did, that you're burnt out, the next step is gonna be, okay, what can I stop doing so that the wheels can quit spinning and I can exercise some form of self-care? And sometimes that is not going to class. That I don't care who's hearing that. Some days it is not going to class. It just is. Because why keep spinning that wheel, right? Because it's just gonna dig you in deeper. And then when you get a chance to just stop, catch your breath, and then do a kind of in-the-moment situational analysis. And what that means is, let me look around. Okay, I'm in 3 organizations, and I'm not trying to say that that's what you're doing, but if you are, like, hey, count the number of orgs you're in. What can I not go to today? Not only that, what can I stop doing right now that's gonna help me kind of ease that burden? And then what can I do for the long term? So there's a short-term solution, and then there's a long-term solution. The long-term obviously being put yourself in a situation where you know that, because now you know your limits. You got a baseline now. And so now you work from there and go, okay, I need to set up safeguards. I need to just, after 8 o'clock, I'm no good to anybody, so anybody that's meeting after 8 can't do it. You know, and that might be what you need to do, but also keep checking in with that group that you've assembled. Make sure that they're holding you accountable to whatever schedule or whatever system you put in place to keep yourself healthy, because that's the key. You're no good to nobody unhealthy. Remember that. You're no good to nobody. So don't go trying to pour into people and you don't have it in you. Stop, get yourself built back up, and then analyze your area and say, okay, what can I fully commit to and what can I not? And then go from there. Because that'll reverse that burnout real quick. But usually the reason we're burning out is because the wheel is still turning. And we got to stop the spinning and then get out of the rut. Then we can go forward. That's a great question. Thank you for asking. Oh, for sure. Other questions? Yes, my children are 6 and 3. My daughter Alyssa, she identifies as Rainbow Unicorn Princess. Totally does. And my son Brandon is 3. Yes, he's named after his father, and he's Brandon. We're just gonna leave it at that. Go ahead, Brandon.
There's a mic over there.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, so for an advisor,
Yes.
what advice would you have in getting through to a student who is absolutely not giving up on like the 12 obligations that they've set for themselves?
There's 2 ways to do that. One, be ready for the inevitable burnout. And then, because it's going to happen, right? And that's what we see as advisors. We know what's going to happen. And so we just need to be ready, and not in an I told you so stance, but more of a let's be here to triage and let's analyze what we can do differently stance. And then secondly, just continue to be persistent, because sometimes, or at least let's analyze our method of how we're trying to reach this student. Because sometimes we're trying to reach students with methods that would work on us and not necessarily that student. And so I gotta look at the student that's in front of me and I gotta go, I've been talking to you, but you're not listening to the words. I've been emailing you and you're not responding to the emails, but you listen to your friends, let me call them in. And since I work in housing and dining, I'm notorious for calling in friends. We'll do some lunch and they're like, oh my gosh, Dr. Jones, you're amazing. Yeah. Okay, look, your boy, you out of control. What, help me. Oh, all you gotta do is talk to his mama. Bingo, we're good. And I've done it. My athletes hate it, but I do it because I'm like, somebody's gotta get in there, and we can't stop them from hitting the wall. We can slow them down. That was a good parenting tip I got. It's like, I can't stop my kid from running into stuff. I can slow them down. And sometimes that's the best we can do is slow them down and then be there when the inevitable happens from a non-judgmental stance, but just being there and go, okay, let's rebuild here, but let's rebuild more strategically. And so I know that that's not the answer that we're probably looking for there, but if you know that student and you know what gets that student's attention, that's what's going to be more helpful than anything else, is actually getting on their level and sometimes just being vulnerable. Brene Brown was on campus the other day and she did a wonderful, wonderful job. Shout out to U of H. Brene Brown was wonderful. And one of the things that she said was that she said you can't get performance out of people until you develop the person, until you unlock the person. You can't unlock performance until you unlock the person. And sometimes we have to meet our students where they are. And sometimes where they are is a place where they just need to hear your story. What was it like when you were a student? And because I'm super vulnerable. But Brene Brown said, but oversharing is not necessarily vulnerability. So you got to be careful with what you share. And so when you can find that, when you can get eye to eye and talk on level with that student, heart to heart, they usually respond, and then just continue to be persistent. So those are the multiple ways that I would go about that. Did that answer your question? Because I know I rambled a little bit.
You got it.
Appreciate it. Oh, we good? Okay. All right, Scott says I have to shut up. So, all right. Thank y'all very much. And again, I'm here all night. Thank you.